You've tweeted about various subjects, actually. It's interesting, your tweet experience. But one of the things you tweeted about was Bitcoin, that you were still thinking about a month ago now. We now have the LME saying that they're actually, CME, sorry, actually saying they're going to start trading in futures on
Bitcoins are a little too tangible for the London Metals Exchange.
Yeah, that's right, exactly.
Yes.
So the CME is going to have futures with Bitcoin. Are you still thinking about it? And if Goldman customers, your customers, come to you and say, we really want to have this as part of our portfolio, do you have any choice but to get involved in Bitcoin?
Look, I have a level of discomfort with it, as I have a level of discomfort with anything that's new. But I've learned over the years that there's a lot of things that work out pretty well that I don't love. I remember when they first came out with cell phones. I'm thinking, why would anybody want this thing? It lasts, battery lasts about 10 minutes. It weighs a ton. You have to have it on your back. And there's phone machines every 15 feet. Why would anyone want this? Guess what? I missed that one. And here, I read a lot of history, and I know once upon a time, a coin was worth $5 if it had $5 worth of gold with it. And then a piece of paper was worth $5, but only if it was backed by gold in the treasury, or silver in the silver certificate. And even then people were suspicious. Now we have paper that's only backed by fiat. The government says, I think that's what it's worth. Maybe in the new world, something gets backed by consensus. Right. Instead of a government fiat, maybe it's a consensual arrangement by people that agree that it's worth something, kind of like what social media does. It's not my natural state of comfort. But if you told me that, if we went into the future and Bitcoins were successful, I would be able to explain how it's a natural evolution from hard money. By the way, why is gold worth anything more than the jewelry value in gold? That's kind of a consensus that people have, because no government says, I'm going to pay you $1,300 an ounce from gold. It is that. Why is it worth that? You can't eat it. Why is it worth that? Because it's been like that for a long time. And so maybe 200 years from now, even someone like me might be comfortable with it. But right now, I tell you, I don't have an investment in it, but I'm not willing to poo-poo it, and that's why I say I'm open to it.
Hedge fund legend Mike Novogratz, he's diving straight into Wall Street's crypto craze with a big bet on Bitcoin. He joins us now for the Credit Suisse Bitcoin and Blockchain Conference here in New York City for an exclusive interview. Mike, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
People know you from Goldman Sachs. People know you from Fortress Investment. So what are you doing right now with Bitcoin? You're raising a fund?
I started investing in Bitcoin and then the whole ecosystem when I was at Fortress. And then as a private investor, I've been very active in the space. And I never thought I'd actually come out of retirement. But the space is so exciting right now. Decided to build a business, and I've hired a whole bunch of smart guys. And we're going to raise a fund. We're going to build a business. And hopefully take advantage of what I see as a revolution, actually, a decentralized revolution.
You're pouring a lot of money of your own into this fund. Reports say it's $150 million in what you hope to be a $500 million fund, Mike. Where are you investing right now? Is it strictly in the cryptocurrencies, or are you also investing in the underlying blockchain technology?
I've been investing in Bitcoin and Ethereum, in lots of different ICOs, in venture in the ecosystem. We've mined. We took an approach way back that I just wasn't smart enough to know what exactly was going to win, and so play the whole ecosystem, and that's still our approach.
Where do you see Bitcoin going? I mean, a lot of people have a lot of crazy predictions out there. So, what's yours?
Listen, the one thing I've realized recently is I can hear the herd coming. I was just in San Francisco. I met with a few big institutional investors, and they're still a ways away, but they're coming. Lots of funds are being raised, and so I'm pretty confident to say it's going higher. The hard part about manias, and I think this will be a real mania, is you have to have a lot of imagination to think where things could go. And so often we set ourselves our own limitations by putting a price level on it. But it would not surprise me if in the next 6 to 10 months we're over 10,000.
Over 10,000 in the next 6 to 10 months. Would you call this a bubble, Mike? I mean, if this were any other asset class, you'd say a move like that constitutes a bubble.
Well, bubbles are funny because historically manias or bubbles happen around things that fundamentally change the way we live. If it's the railroad bubble or the internet bubble, they really did change the way we lived. This blockchain revolution, this decentralized revolution, is going to change the way we live. We've gone from kind of an experiment to now we're implementing. And I think just like in '97 when you thought about the internet, we could have never understood the ubiquity of the internet in 2017, even at the height of the bubble. 10 years, 15 years from now, blockchain and decentralized systems will be everywhere. And so, yes, it's a bubble. It's going to be one of the great manias of all time. Bitcoin happens to be the bellwether of this entire decentralized revolution. And so it's the easiest way people can get exposure to it. And so I think Bitcoin probably runs the hardest. But things like Ethereum, I think, will be the public utility of this new space. And so we've split our bets, and we were betting on a lot of the other ICOs as well.
So the internet bubble imploded famously, Mike. So does that imply that Bitcoin, that bubble in Bitcoin will also have a similar sort of implosion? And how does that happen? What triggers that?
Right now, total market cap of the whole blockchain, Bitcoin, Ethereum, ecosystem is roughly $200 billion. In 1999, the internet got up to around $6.5 trillion. And so we are a long, long way from what a mania looks like. And so, listen, prices will always get ahead of themselves in new technologies. And so, just like, you had a gold up and down, there'll be big volatility in this stuff. And at one point, there'll be a major correction. Why I think having a macro skill set and a macro hat to wear in investing this stuff is that you hope you understand when things run out of gas and try to get out before then. But I do think, just like in the internet, they're going to be companies that exist 20 years from now that really do change the way we do business.
Sure. Bitcoin, though, is a whole other asset class, Mike. And so I'm wondering, using that macro hat, what sorts of indicators are you looking at to tell you that Bitcoin is not in a bubble right now? And what sort of indicators are you going to look at to say, you know what, they're flashing warning signs to me? What out there are you looking at?
So I see Bitcoin really as a digital gold. It's become a store of value. And a lot of people say, well, how can that be a store of value? Well, but why was gold a store of value, right? There are 20 other metals you could have picked, but somebody picked gold, maybe because it was shiny. There's a limited supply. My kids walk around, I have 4 kids, 60% of the waking day, their head's in a phone. And so they're growing up in a digital world. One day, their boyfriend's going to give them digital flowers, and they're going to really enjoy the flowers. My mom would say, I want real flowers. But as we move into a digital world, having a digital store of value makes more and more sense. And so where could the price of gold or silver go in a speculomania? Who knows? There are a limited amount of Bitcoins. Very few people own them at this point. There are less than 5 million people in the whole that have crypto wallets. And it's a world that all has access. So you've got people in Taiwan, in Korea, in Japan, in India, in the United States, in over Europe that can participate. And so I think, you've got to let your imagine run on this one, and things can go for a lot longer and a lot higher.